I used the power of electrical safety to scare a shifty manager and give a burnt-out employee a long, paid break. In my line of work, I service commercial kitchen equipment, those big, high-voltage machines that are built to churn out hot food fast. I move from site to site, often landing in grocery stores, convenience shops, or small chain restaurants. It's not glamorous, but it keeps things interesting. On this particular day, I was assigned to a well-known grocery store chain that prides itself on its safe reputation. If you're guessing based on that clue, you're probably right. My task that day was to repair a TurboChef NGC oven in their deli department. For those unfamiliar, TurboChef ovens are beasts. They cook food fast, using a brutal combo of convection, high-powered microwave energy, and radiant heat. They're also dangerous when being serviced. These things run on 240 volts and pull 30 amps. Plenty enough to kill someone if they're careless around live wires. That's why the #1 rule when working on these machines is clear the space. When I got there, the oven was positioned in such a way that my working on it meant more than half of the deli's hot case was inaccessible. So I told the deli worker on shift to take it easy, slow production, and avoid the area entirely while I was working. She nodded, clearly relieved for a moment of calm. Things were quiet, safe, and moving along just fine. Then her manager walked in. He was exactly the kind of guy you expect in this kind of story. Probably mid-40s, pressed shirt, the air of someone who treats every slow second like a personal affront. He saw his employee leaning on the cold case and, without missing a beat, launched into full power trip mode. He started barking orders, asking why she wasn't keeping the station moving, why the hot case wasn't full, and generally talking down to her in a loud, belittling tone. She didn't say much. She just stood there quietly, nodding like someone who'd been through this routine too many times. But I was standing right there with wires in my hands, and 240 volts lived just inches away from me, and I'd had enough. I turned and cut him off mid-sentence. I used the calm, serious voice I reserve for when I need someone to actually listen. I explained that under my company's safety protocol, employees are not allowed in my work area during service, especially not near a machine like this, which can deliver a deadly shock. I laid out the risks in full detail. The voltage, the amperage, the consequences. I wasn't exaggerating either. 1 amp can stop a heart. These ovens run at 30. I made sure to speak in a tone that made it clear this wasn't a conversation. This was a warning, one that came with consequences if ignored. The manager immediately backpedaled. His face went pale, and he mumbled something about just being safe before retreating to wherever he came from, probably to scold someone else. The deli employee gave me a look, equal parts relief and gratitude, and disappeared behind the cold case with her phone. For once, she could relax without worrying about being hassled. And here's where the petty part kicked in. I could have finished that job in 45 minutes, maybe an hour tops. But after watching that manager rip into her for doing nothing wrong, I decided to take my sweet time. I stayed for 2.5 hours. I cleaned components that didn't need cleaning. I double and triple checked connections. I called my office to confirm a part number I already knew by heart. I even stood around for a while just updating my work order on my tablet, occasionally glancing at the cold case to make sure she was still getting her well-deserved break.